Okay, we are going to start the Environmental Management Commission meeting of January 26, 2022. We have a quorum, at least for the second, of Georgine Adams, District 9, Rick Gaffney, wait, Rick, District 8, Melissa Cardwell, District 5, Lee McIntosh.
I'm actually District 5, Georgine.
What? Didn't I say that?
I'm District 5.
5. Sorry, I thought I said that.
That's okay.
And then Lee McIntosh, District 7, and John Olson, District 4. And therefore,
I'm District 6.
You're District 6. No. Sorry. So we are.
Have to remain on video the whole time because, as you know, the Zoom platform takes a lot of data to Zoom so can he turn off the camera until it's or something like that? It's next.
Okay, I think what he said, Kira, was that the Zoom is not being nice. They don't have steady connection, and can he turn off the video? And I think the answer to that is no, we lose quorum when he turns it off.
Yeah, that's
So
what the new sunshine law says. And we sought clarification from OIP about this, and that's the guidance that we received. So
okay, so I think what we're stuck with today is we will have an informational meeting only. We will not be making any decisions or any motions at this meeting, but we will take the time that those of us are here are together to share some information and set up for the next meeting, hopefully. Is that okay, Kira? Kira Wong, in the corner there is our corporate counsel for the Environmental Management Commission. And we'll see what we can do next time. Next time, hopefully we can set up a satellite area where John and others can go physically to be at the meeting. But today we'll go with just doing informational things. But one of the informational things I think I am authorized as chair that we will be continuing the contested case hearing that was held January 7th of 2022 with Kayala Partners LLC appeal of the director's decision to build 2 wastewater accounts for TMK 375-019-018 and 375-019-26. We need to continue that hearing because we do not have enough commissioners that we think we could reach a resolution at the
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, if I may briefly, just for the record, you're calling out of order on the agenda item number 5.
And part of that is to allow Richie Henderson, one of the parties, to get out of this meeting. And maybe we've got a little bit more video stream that John can take advantage of, and to spare your time, Richie.
Thank you. Okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
All right, we're out of order and dealing with that continuation. And so we will set a new date for that hearing as soon as we can find a time when a sufficient number of commissioners and the Hendersons can make that hearing date.
If I may, Madam Chair, Mr. Henderson, are there any dates in February that you are not available? Either you or your father are not available?
Well, I think that February would be pretty much open. Let me just check and see if there's anything staggering coming up. No, it doesn't look like we'll all be in town, and so any time in February would be good.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Kikai, for Mr. Mansour and your witnesses, are there any dates in February that you will not be available?
I think, Peter, do you have access to my calendar? I know for a fact I won't be available from the 9th till the 15th. But I'm sure I have different dates that Peter probably could shed the light on for other meetings.
Yes, I've checked with all commissioners, and the times that nobody has objected to are on February 7th, before 9 or 10 to 11 exactly. That's it in February.
And I think we can make another call out to people saying, come on, you might need to reschedule some things in your life if you can, so that we can get this done. It's just not fair to the Hendersons to keep dragging this out. And I think all of us can make some accommodations. So we'll make another effort. I know Ramsey, you're often dragged off by the council, and it's hard to tell them, no, you're not going to play. But the rest of us, I think we'll try and see what we can come up with.
So, Madam Chair, it's my understanding then we're scheduling this for February 7th.
No, don't go with that. We need to, all he could find was 1 hour when people were able to commit. And I'm not sure 1 hour would be sufficient, although everyone is supposed to read all the information and testimony from the last hearing date. I want to be fair that you get adequate time to address any.
Okay, so instead of,
we'll be able to cover the loss. So we're just kind of waiting for funds to come in order to cover the loss.
And again, that's a timing issue which we have experienced.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
I'm sorry, that was from one of the Hendersons. I muted them.
that was a female voice. I don't know who it was, but I was just going to say, Madam Chair, that in order to expedite things, why don't you guys find out when you guys can have a meeting, and hopefully with quorum, and then have Peter Sir notify us of
Yes, we will notify all
what
parties.
dates you
officially.
guys have, and then we can kind of coordinate that and try and get something put together. Okay?
Thank you,
Thank you.
Richie.
Okay.
Yeah, so
thanks so
I would
much.
just ask Ms. Kikai if she could double check with her witnesses and with her schedule and get back to me and Peter with the dates you're available. And myself and the chair will work with the commissioners to encourage everyone's participation.
I would just ask to avoid Thursdays. The majority of my Thursdays have either Wind and
Okay.
Planning Commission or Cost of Government Commission. So I could probably work the rest of my schedule around, but Thursdays are a hard day.
Thank you. Okay, I'll note that. Thank you, Richie and Richard.
Okay, then we'll see you in the emails when you guys get something organized. Thank you very much.
Very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like you have quorum again. Ahuiho.
Okay, back on quorum. Having quorum, we can move to item 2, approval of minutes. We have the minutes of the last Environmental Management Commission meeting of November 24th. Could I have a motion for approving those minutes?
I move that the minutes be approved as written.
The second,
I second.
Melissa, any corrections or comments? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in support, say aye.
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 That was unanimous. Any nays? Okay, those are approved. The next set of minutes are from the special meetings, hearings that we took on December 29th, 2021. And I guess you can vote on those, whether or not you were present. Could I get a motion to accept the minutes of December 29, 2021?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 I think that was everybody. Are there any nays? No, okay. December 29 minutes are approved. The second one is January 7th, when we actually did the whole board meeting. Can I get a motion to accept those minutes? January 7, 2022.
So moved.
And a second?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think I need to point out that I was recused. I recused myself of that, so I can't vote on this.
Madam Chair, I think we can defer the approval of the January 7, 2022 meeting to the next meeting.
Okay.
I withdraw the motion.
Okay, we are postponing the approval of the January 7, 2022 special meeting minutes until our February EMC meeting, which I think is the 16th. The statement from the chair, number 3, is holy moly. This year is supposed to be better. And let's hope that it will be. We're off to a little bit of rocky start here. But my watchwords for the year are resilience and kuleana. We will try and as hard as we can to make this work and help bring improvements and opportunities in the environmental management field. So everybody cross your fingers. Number 4, statements from the public on items on the agenda. Do we have any testifiers on the call? We did get a written comment that hopefully you've all looked at in the online file. Okay, and Peter, you're not aware of anybody who wanted to testify?
Correct.
Okay, I'll close that item. Unfinished business was the continuation of the contested case hearing, and we will try to get all our schedules together and get that held next month in February. Item 5B is our individual EMC priorities and whether or not you want to continue that for 2022. It was my idea last year. I personally found it to be useful for me to think about what do I want to accomplish this year on behalf of the EMC. But I am certainly open to, that really wasn't energizing enough for the rest of the crew to continue that. But if you would like to, obviously you can have your own list of priorities, but to have it as a publication for the commission, I'm not sure we need to do that. Comments from anybody? Do you want to continue reforming those? Melissa?
I agree with you. I really like the idea of it. I personally, I think the thing that I started off being excited about was composting and working on that, but I encountered a lot of, basically a lot of red tape, and I haven't been working on it kind of for that reason. It just seems really difficult to make any headway with that, and so I kind of set it aside for now. But I do think, I don't know, I do think having it more public makes us a little more accountable. I'm just not sure, me personally, that I'll continue working on that particular issue. I think it's a lot bigger than, one person working on it. I mean, not that I'm just one person, but just I think it's just going to require a lot of work, and I'm just not really sure at this point where even to go with it. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Rick? Did you think it a useful exercise to have?
Yeah, I do. And I understand Melissa's concerns because I have the same ones, but frankly, those concerns about the difficulty of getting anything done seem to cover the complete gamut of everything DEM does. And there are problems that we don't even expect when we start the process, and we assume that we reach out to the people involved and we get them excited about it and they want to move forward on it, and then we run into these solid walls, some of which we can't even understand. But that doesn't make those issues that were of concern to us any less concerning. Yeah, I think it's a valuable thing.
Thank you. Lee, did you have an opinion?
I guess it was helpful, but I've pretty much gone as far as I can with what I was working on, just waiting to see what the county does and what information they release. But I don't know what else I would be able to do in regards to the treatment plants.
I mean, the idea behind it was more, when you're thinking about initiatives or information you want to find out about, to bring back to the commission so that we can try and decide, is there something we should do? It's just kind of a reminder of what you'd like to work on and where you're going to do some offline homework individually. So you can go as hard or as soft as you wish on them. It's more your own personal to-do list, and looking for different angles on how to make it work. John, did you feel it was useful?
Of course. The fact of the matter is that, at least from my side, our solid waste issues out here in Puna, while they have become marginally better, are barely keeping up with our population growth. And the fact of the matter is that the foundation of this organization is based in that the solid waste issues are growing with the population. I mean, we have at least 80,000 TMKs in the Puna district. And those lots are rapidly being built on. Aside from all of the other things that are going on in the world, people are still coming here in droves. And we're going to have to continue to figure out how to keep up with it. So that is one of the reasons we started this organization, got this on the ballot and got it voted on by the people who all agreed that this body needed to exist. So that has
I think
been
it's definitely a worthy cause. I was more asking the question of, do you want to refresh? And it may be the same issue that you want to continue striving for, that list of priorities for 2022. And it sounds like everybody would like to, maybe frustrated you didn't get as far as you'd wanted to this last year, but hey, that's life. But you're still going to strive for it. So I think I'll put out a request or to everybody on the commission, go through, and we have 2 new commissioners who hadn't gotten around to adding to it. Just think about, what would you like to focus your personal efforts on, and refresh that. And then again, we can publish it and share it. And I will ask for the monthly updates. Is there anything you'd like to report? You're not obligated to have done anything, but gives you an opportunity to talk about things you may have learned in the last month. So I'll keep going, and thank you for that. And I don't think we need a motion for it. Like I said, it's an informal activity. I have next on the agenda to give a status report on the permitted interest group. I don't really like calling it a PIG, but we're kind of calling it the Barriers to Private Recyclers. And Carrie OPE and Melissa Cardwell and I have been talking or thinking about how to collect information, a lot of it following up on the kinds of things that Mr. Case described. I developed a spreadsheet trying to track who we're contacting and what issues have been identified, and then we'll come up with some commonalities and recommendations we'll bring back to the commission. But as with trying to hold these hearings and this meeting, it's been hard over the holidays to get hold of people and to make a lot of progress. I personally, I've had a couple of really interesting conversations with people, so we're working on it. Stay tuned, it's on the list. And appreciate the effort, and I think it will be valuable to the group. New business. We have you disappeared, Melissa. We can't have quorum without your pretty face on the camera. How awkward that is. Anyway,
Sorry,
it's a new
multitasking.
Yeah, I know. Life is like that. I was here, I got a phone, I got an iPad, I got a computer, ding, ding, ding. We need to elect a new chair and vice chair for 2022. I'll just inform you, I am glad to continue as chair, but certainly if somebody else would like to step forward, go for it. Rick, do you want to continue as vice chair?
I'm willing to continue as vice chair, and I'd like to nominate you as chair.
Thank you. Okay, I guess, do we come up with a slate and then vote on the slate, or do it individually, Kara?
You can do it by chair and then vice chair.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
unless anybody else expresses any interest of becoming either chair or vice chair, speak now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my very first EMC meeting, I was asked to be the chair. And I thought, well, that's kind of jumping into the fire. So we elected Justin Pequeño, who was not at the meeting. So is there anybody not at this meeting that you'd like to elect as chair?
You're catching on.
Better show up to these meetings.
Dare you not to show up.
All right, so can we have a vote for Georgine Adams as chair for 2022?
Chair, who made the motion? For
I
the
made
record?
the motion. I don't think there was a
Oh, we
second.
need a second.
I
We need a
second
second.
it.
Melissa seconds.
I second.
Okay, can you do roll call?
Sure, do a roll call.
Okay. Cardwell,
Aye.
Gaffney,
Aye.
McIntosh,
Aye.
Olson. Olson,
I think
Aye.
he said. We-
he's nodding. And Georgine?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, so you're stuck with me for another year. I don't know, I think I can make the motion that Rick Gaffney be vice chair.
Can
Do we
I
have
do
a
someone
second?
else?
I second. I make a motion for
Sorry,
Rick Gaffney to
Okay, thank you.
vice chair.
Is there a second?
Anybody else? So we need a second to Melissa. He doesn't like me voting. I looked up Robert's rules and I
I
can't make
second.
motions this chair. But Lee seconds. You want to take a vote or is there discussion? Again, we can nominate somebody who's not here.
John Burns specifically asked not to be nominated.
Okay,
Smart man.
take the roll. Peter,
Rick Gaffney,
Aye.
Ms. Melissa Cardwell,
Aye.
Lee McIntosh,
Aye.
John Olson,
Aye.
and Georgine Adams.
aye.
That sounds like 5.
Okay, Rick and I are now continuing and appreciate all your support. The second item, 6B on the agenda is discussion regarding emergency closure notifications for transfer station operations. This is Rick Gaffney's item, so maybe Rick, you would like to further explain, and then we can find out from DEM reps here what's going on.
Yeah, the reason I put this on the agenda is I was curious why DEM is not using the county's emergency notification system to let people know, at least those people who are on the emergency notification system, when a specific waste transfer station is going to be closed. I've personally run into it on many occasions, and it's frustrating because particularly if say the green waste is open on a Wednesday and you get there and it's closed and you've got a busy day ahead of you, you could end up with green waste in your vehicle, in your truck, in this case, until Saturday. And that's not good for the highways. It's not good for your vehicle. And it's just an unfortunate situation, which I think could be remedied if there were emergency notifications, again, that are available to anybody that wants to be on that emergency notification system. So that's why I put it on the list here. It just seems like there is a lot of community concern about not being able to access transfer stations at the times that are posted, although even those times that are posted sometimes seem to be changed in reality, but not changed on the website. So what I'm seeking is that there be more regular notification and more immediate notification to prevent people having to drive long distances, people dumping their green waste on the side of the road, and so forth.
So I'll note that John Olson has disappeared. I don't know.
So Chair, I was actually doing some research on the side. And so since there was a quorum, a visible quorum with audio visual components, if someone loses connection and can only be available by audio, that's okay. So we've established John.
He's back.
He's back. But for future, you know, we can continue. We don't have to cancel. We don't have to not act on anything because we've established quorum through audio visual connection. And if John's unable to be connected by visual, then that's okay. Although I think he went out now, totally.
He's
Oh, there he is.
definitely
Okay.
in and out, but I think
good.
this is informational, unless somebody wants to make a motion. So that just for clarification, Rick, my understanding is you're talking about the kind of emergency closures, the same day closures, as opposed to ones that are scheduled. You know, there is a posting when they know they're going to have to close. You know,
That's
for-
correct. What's been happening with COVID is that, you know, suddenly at opening time, they discover that there are not enough employees and they therefore can't open the facility. One thing that happened recently, also an emergency, is the machinery that's used to pack the green waste into the trailer had broken down, and so they couldn't operate the green waste as a result. Those are emergencies, and that's why I think it's appropriate that the emergency network be used, because it's an opportunity. You know, my phone dings and tells me that there's big surf coming, or whatever, or a highway is closed, or there's a fire someplace, and I'm just asking that we add access to the waste system to that list of emergencies. And I presented this as an agenda item, hoping that we could get some feedback from DEM as to whether or not there may be a reason why they can't do that. Because if there's no reason not to do it, then I would certainly make a motion that we ask them to do it. But I need to know if there's any issues that would prevent it.
Senna Berg, I had passed it along to her. I don't know if you had a chance to finish your research on what the deal is.
So the short answer is yes, we already are set up under the emergency notification system. And so I just started a new position here in DEM this 2 weeks ago. So I've been scrambling like a crazy person. I wanted to do a little bit more research to fully answer your question. It's on the website under facilities and under emergency preparations, which is a weird place, but people can sign up for notifications. What we did last week, I had one of our managers that does IT stuff get and move to on the website, like under special announcements. Right now it's been placed there where it just says that you can, go here and sign up for the emergency notification. The piece of information I do not know is from operations. When something happens, and maybe Ramsey can answer this, when something happens, who in operations, because of course either it's going to be 6 o'clock in the morning or it's going to be Saturday or Sunday or some random time when us office people are not in the office. So
yeah, thank you,
go ahead.
Senna. Yeah, I think Rick, I know you and I talked about that, and it is a good question, good concern. As always, I encourage improvement needed within our department. This department used to be under the civil defense emergency notification. We were asked to be taken out because it's taken their priorities. So the department no longer cannot tap into that county emergency notification due to not being under our control under civil defense. Therefore, that's why we try to get it within our website as notification. So I encourage people to just continue connecting to our website. Maybe eventually we'll, I know the county is working on an app, and we're gonna be part of that. Maybe we could expand on technologies and maybe expand on notification. But unfortunately, when it comes to emergency, I guess we could continue working with civil defense and see if they will take us back. So hopefully, right, that kind of answer your question about the emergency county notification.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's why I asked it as a question, because you know, it seems so that automatically it would be good if you got it automatically. It'd be very convenient for us as citizens if we could get it automatically. You know, you don't always have access to the web when you're loading green waste. But yeah, and the other thing that's important part of this is from my fairly regular review of that of the Hawaii Zero Waste website, which is what's come up in the chat now, is that it needs to be updated regularly. Some of the phone numbers on that website, when you call them, they just ring. No one answers them. So it's important that somebody on staff put these notifications on the website as quickly as they're aware that something's happening, and that somebody kind of oversees the website and make sure that it's kept up to date. Because it's no use whatsoever if it gives you a phone number to call and you call it and no one answers the number.
Point well taken. I think Santa kind of mentioned that sometimes even when the staff report to work at 8 o'clock, some of these closures take place like at 6:30 in the morning because we open at 6, and it'll be like 2 hours into it before the office people gets into the office. But yeah, we're gonna continue working on navigating through these challenges, but we'll find a way, because the field guys start at 6, the office guys start at 8. So there's that 2-hour window, and a lot of people will be already on the road. So, but unfortunately, sometimes we don't know the day before. We know just right before we open that something happened, or somebody, you know, out sick, or they cannot report to work or what have you. But yeah, we'll continue on improvement for sure.
Okay, we'll be watching, and I guess if you can update us on any new information, we'd be glad to help advertise solutions as they can be. Next, moving to item 7 and reports. I hope you all had a chance to look through the director's report, which included the information that was presented to the RAWIM committee, the environmental committee. I'm blanking on when it was, earlier this month. It's always instructive as well to watch the video, if not watch it live, on the kinds of questions that the council is raising for the director. But let's start with the legislative update. I think, Ramsey, you had information in there about council legislation. And if anybody has any questions on that list. Hearing none, or if there's anything you wanted in particular to highlight, Ramsey, of things you'd like us to do. I provided my own personal testimony to the committee. But I don't know if there are follow-ups that you think would be good for EMC to provide.
Thank you, Georgiana. Definitely. Last year was a year of bringing awareness to everybody on the solid waste and environmental issues that the department faces with. This year, I hope we focus on implementation. Definitely, we need now to start looking at the code changes, and Peter started with a draft. I definitely would love commission members to definitely start participating on the code changes. So anything that you guys foresee within your own goals that you like to accomplish from a code perspective, or policies that you guys would like to see. So we need to start shaping up our codes so we could take them back to the committees, to the committee, and hopefully we could start. I know a lot of you brought some changes that we need to do. So maybe as we move forward, when you get the draft, start adding what you'd like to see changed. Definitely, as far as legislation, we have been working with a lot of elected officials here on the island trying to pass that private public Senate Bill 997. We're trying to also introduce different bills that allows us to partner with the private sector in trying to achieve sewer services to these communities that decentralized or so far away from our current wastewater treatment plants, at least trying to get them some type of sewer service through private entities. We're going to continue pursuing that. I know it's a challenge in so many aspects of, political arena, the Kona decision and other challenges, but we're going to continue pursuing that definitely, because we don't want people to stay on cesspools and septic tanks if they are near waste treatment plant. It doesn't matter if it's private or public, but we need to start allowing that transition. Definitely, we need to continue working with the Department of Health, trying to see if they could, there was discussion they could change their Hawai'i statute and their admin rule to allow the connection to private entities. So we're going to continue pushing that, and also try to change the county code to also allow the connection to private wastewater treatment plant if it's nearby. Definitely, as far as the solid waste is, you guys seen the presentation, I hope. If you have not seen it, take the time to see that presentation. There's a lot of challenges and priorities that the department is dealing with, especially the solid waste. The staffing has been always an issue. We have, contractual agreement as being a challenge. Even some of the, design build contractual obligation we have on some of these transfer station. We're looking into these contracts and trying to figure out how we're gonna redirect the work or expedite the work and what have you. The Waihino transfer station is one of them. It's been under construction for 2 years, and we need to figure a way of get our hand on doing better planning as we move forward, rather than having the contractor and the designers tell us what the plan is. So definitely, we requested this year budget to add more staff to be able to allow us to deliver the services that you and the constituents would like to see happening. So definitely your support to our budget will be greatly appreciated. We also requested for the financial consultant and for both solid waste and wastewater. I know your commission also assisted in that last year by sending letters to council member requiring that we get a consultant on board. So this year we added some money. We're gonna do a supplement to ask for these consultant again. So hopefully this year will get accepted so we could at least start moving forward for better planning financially and operationally through some experts that they could come in and figure a way that we could generate revenue to become sustainable. Because I think that's our challenges is just the funding.
One of the things, I mean, last year, what we did was send in a recommendation for wastewater treatment funding. And whether or not we should do the same thing for solid waste funding. Are you looking at two different consultants or one that would cover both?
Two different consultants. It's two different area of expertise. Sometimes you may find a financial strategic type of consultant does both. But the way we budget them is two different budget keys. So it's two different budgets.
Well, speaking of the budget, I mean, maybe one of the things that you could do, and I'm not sure where you are in your schedule, if we could get a copy of your proposed budget, then we could write something specific to, and we particularly recommend, the following pieces be budget or very strongly or blah, blah. Hard to do that in generic terms. Which is kind of what the wastewater letter that we sent was. So I'm just trying to figure out what would be the most effective to go to council to say, we support these budget proposals from DEM, particularly on these issues.
Yeah, definitely. We right now on the supplemental submittals, I think that budget is going to go before the committee or council in March. So definitely you guys have the opportunity to join in and testify to these meetings. But you're right. I'll check with Robin, our business manager, to see at what point we could start sharing the draft. It has not yet been assembled, but I'm just giving you the heads up of where we're going with the budget. But once we have a draft, yes, definitely.
Do other commissioners have thoughts on, you want to send something in now? You want to wait until you see what the proposed budget is? Okay, well, give us information as soon as you can so that we can prepare. I mean, this monthly meeting stuff is so much fun, so that we can actually provide official comment. I think we all are supportive in general of, yeah, you need sustainable funding for your entire division, the solid waste and wastewater. And the more specific we can be in supporting proposals, the more effective I think we can be. I do want to back up. You kind of jumped to our items C and D on the director's report. Did want to make a comment about the legislative update. There are a whole bunch of bills that are being introduced now at the state level. And whether there are particular bills that you want to support or not support because you don't like the way they're done, it would be helpful for us to know what those are, what the issues are, to be able to throw our 2 cents in on what we think would be advantageous or absolutely horrific if they went through. So that would be appreciated. One example there is a bill, both House and Senate, to increase the glass advanced deposit. I think we all have heard and understand and support. That's a good idea. Whether that's something that EMC would want to specifically comment on, but it'd be nice to get that priority list from you of where you want to make sure support happens, or for us to tell DOH, who's going to be sending in the comments, just to make sure we can live with what we can. It's a lot of information, a lot of reading crazy bills to try to work on detail, but if we can get some focus, it would help. Rick, did you?
Yeah, definitely. First, I don't know. I'm sorry I have not shared with you guys the good news. Senna is officially our recycling coordinator, so congratulations for her taking on the job. And she really comes in with a wealth of knowledge, and definitely she's going to be the go-to person for some of these state bills that is going to go through our desk when it comes to recycling and anything had to do with recyclable diversions, reducer generation type of control efforts and what have you. So definitely we'll maybe the next meeting we could work with staff and Senate to present to you guys more updates on our thoughts of these bills. Like I said, Georgiana, there's so many of them, and sometimes some of them make sense, some of them is just kind of you shake your head and say, okay, what should I do? But definitely there's a few things that we are out there and saying we're going to support for sure that could be beneficial to the entire county when it comes to diversion, recyclables, partnering, joint venture with the private sectors and kind of expand, the involvement of the community. So when we look at these bills, we really look at it as what is the impact of this bill it's going to do to our constituents and to our programs. So, we kind of brainstorm it with staff and the people that is being contacted to either approve or support and what have you.
Okay. Again, timeliness is always a challenge with the once a month meetings. So as soon as you can share it with us, then we can start deciding what kind of positions we might want to take. Rick, I know you've had some concerns in this area. Anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, there's several pieces of this, Ramsey. What you've just described is valuable to us. But the other thing that I think is really important that we be made aware of, and that is what is the Roth administration requesting of the Hawaii Island Legislative Caucus prior to the legislative year. So from my experience, that basically boils down to a very small percentage of the bills that the legislature is going to consider in a given year, but they're the ones that the administration thinks are the most important. And likely they would be the most important to us as well. And we can help support that effort by reaching out to the Hawaii Island Legislative Caucus, to our individual legislators, or even legislators that we may know from other islands that we think are going to be supportive and would appreciate having our expertise on the subject. So the bills that are coming up in the legislature over time, a lot of them are junk, a lot of them are never going to pass, a lot of them aren't really worthy of our time. But the ones that the Roth administration takes to our legislative, our whatever number in our caucus and asks for their specific support of, I think those are the ones that we need to be made aware of probably as early as they are defined by the county administration, so that we can be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe what we do next meeting, we could invite Steve Bader, who's our legislative person under the mayor's administration, and maybe he could guys give you update because he's the contact person for the administration to deal with such issues. We'll make sure that Peter, please make sure that we include him to give us update. Yeah, the one that comes from definitely Mayor Roth administration is really now the strong one that we're trying to push for the second year, which is trying to find solution between private and public. So we could provide, and this one was high priority, and we've been working on it with council members and elected officials in the state and the House, trying to figure out what we could do to kind of improve on that legislation. But definitely we could have Steve Bader attend the next committee meeting and give you a commission meeting and give you guys kind of
That'd be
overview.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be very useful, and I appreciate that. And I do understand that this year the county's legislative package was late. It wasn't delivered until literally opening moments of the legislature. And ideally, in future years, that won't be the case, because that's not how the other counties handle it. They reach out to the legislative caucus early on. There's some discussion back and forth, decisions made. And so ideally, if we can hear from Steve Bader next October or November, instead of February or March, that pushes our ability to be supportive, and also asks for our input to that process, rather than just telling us that that's where the process is going.
Definitely makes sense. Unfortunately, this year is election year. A lot of people don't want to put some of the legislation on their plate because the election. So yeah, that's why probably you're seeing less. They just want to navigate through the election year. But point well taken, and I think Steve could be an asset as we move forward. You're right, maybe next year by October, rather than waiting till the 11:30.
Senator Barrett wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought this up, Rick, just because it's one, the good news is there are a lot of environmental bills. Two, the bad news is there are a lot. And exactly as you say, you start trying to read them and what's good, what's bad and stuff. And then because it's, you know, I love and hate this time of year because I know it's coming. And then myself and my colleagues on the different islands, we're trying to stay organized and read all this, and you know, you read this and you read this, but then all of a sudden things start dropping away really quickly because of what you're describing. So I think it's a great idea to get more organized about this because it moves so quickly. And in that, I think next meeting EMC is too late because they're already starting the hearings.
Right.
So good idea, and next meeting will be too late.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I
not
understand
to-
all that. And I, you know, I understand, you know, I mean, Ramsey hasn't been through this process before at the county level either. So I'm talking about the future, but I think it's the Environmental Management Commission can be an asset to the county in supporting the county's strong wishes with the legislature. But if we don't know until too late, then, you know, we're just like every other citizen in the state. We're just sitting there waiting to see if that massive body, you know, the truth is they get something like 3,500 bills in the front end and less than 300 out the back end. So it's a really dynamic process, and there are lots of politics involved. But my experience in having been around the legislature for a really long time suggests that if we persevere and bring a lot of weight on these issues on a regular basis, that we can win that battle. it's a very difficult process. So thank you, both of you, for your explanation. I understand, and let's get it done in future years.
Thank you, Rick. And I guess I would also, obviously, we're members of this commission, we're interested people and can individually provide comment to our representatives, and would encourage that too. I also know that a lot of the stuff that gets proposed are kind of opening gamuts for, here are ideas, what do you think? It'll be further developed in the next year or two. So all is not lost if we miss a particular window on a bill, that a lot of those ideas are going to carry over. So again, it's let us know as soon as possible so that we can get information in. Need to back up again to 7B. You had a hearing yesterday, you're having one today, I can't keep track, on modifications to your administrative rules dealing with uncovered loads, tipping fee credit for residential haulers and trailers at transfer stations. If anybody had comments or questions about that, and then now that Melissa's left, I gotta wait till she comes back, but if we want to put any official commentary if needed to the rulemaking record as EMC, now's the time. I think your comment period's open till the end of the month, if I remember right.
That is right. We had the meeting yesterday on the west side, and today we're gonna have it on the east side. I guess yesterday we waited for almost more than an hour and a half, and we have 0 attendance. So to some extent, I don't know if that's good or bad, but as far as, you know, it seemed like people are okay with not having, somebody.
John, are you saying something about this?
No, not at the moment. I'm listening.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely we're gonna have the meeting on the east side today, and we'll hopefully take comments and listen and see what people had to say. But as far as the west side, we have 0 attendance. So either what we're doing is been working, or some changes may need to be done, but we'll see.
Do any of the commissioners have comments or questions about the proposed changes?
This is Commissioner McIntosh. I already sent in testimony, but essentially my only comment was to change the 9-foot regulation to 10-foot, just so you get a majority of trailers in there. 6x9 is an odd dimensions to use. And I've been using a 5x10 trailer for years at Wai'ihinu, and it worked just fine.
Yes, definitely. I think I remember reading your comments when we first put that thing out. I think the reason we use 6x9 because that's what was utilized from the safety committee or safety members when they went out there to each side and they maneuvered. But I would imagine we could go back to the safety, and let's first find out how many other comments we get, and we could strategize on answers.
So I've got.
Thank you, Lee.
Can I
Rick,
make
had a
quick?
question? Sure, Rick Gaffney.
Yeah, quick input. I think that state law requires a 10-foot wide trailer to have a wide load permit. That trailers up to 9 feet are legal without a special permit, but trailers over 9 feet require a wide load permit. That doesn't mean you can't get one. And generally, I think this would work for most people like Lee, because the 10-foot wide trailer with a wide load permit specifies that it goes from your house to a destination and back. But the decision that's made to grant the wide load permit has to do also with whether or not there would be a traffic issue. But there are also federal laws on the maximum width of trailers that can be on a federally funded highway. So there's a lot to this. And I'm not standing in the way of 10-foot trailers. I'm just saying that that may be another issue.
Maybe that's why our safety committee, when they did it, they used the 6x9, but we could recheck. But yeah, Rick, you bring in good points, and if it creates more issues, then maybe more discussion needs to take place.
Actually, it's 10 foot long and 5 foot wide, so it's well below that, and it's the length I was referring to, 9 foot, and I was saying it should be 10 foot. So it would still fall very well under that, I guess, federal purview.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. I just heard 10 feet and went, because I've been around the boating industry long enough to know that I think actually Hawaii County allows the widest trailers of any county in the state. But again, they still have to be under a certain width if to operate on the highways without the wide load permit. So that is a consideration.
Now, I personally have just a grown comment on the residential credit. It's going the wrong direction. You need money. And as a general principle, we need to pay for the services that we get. And here's another way that we've cut off. I don't know how much money that represents. I assume it's not large quantity of money, but I understand the political reason why the credit's back in there. But I think we need to, again, you need to get this consultant in. You need to be looking at what are the ways that we get sustainable funding and quit giving away our services. But I don't think it's a position that EMC needs to take. And what I'm hearing is we don't necessarily need to write up an official testimony on these changes, unless somebody wants to make a motion that we write up a supporting letter.
Yeah, let's just give you, Georgiana, it's a good point that we struggled with in-house about residential credit and how we're going to move forward. Everybody on the island, residents, they pay for solid waste through their taxes. So they already paid into that facility or bringing the waste in. Some people opt to take their own waste, so they don't pay the commercial hauler to take their waste. Some, they pay $40 a month for somebody to come pick up their garbage, or $20 a month. So they already pay in for somebody to carry their waste and take it to a landfill. The residential credit is just everybody on the island entitled to that, because you're not commercial, you're a resident. So to charge them for that, then you technically double charging the resident because they pay into it for their tax already. But so it's per se, it's not free. It just, this is, this is what they pay for. We cannot penalize them because they decide to have somebody come pick up their garbage, because they're already paying for that. And if you charge them, the hauler is going to end up bypassing that dollar into them anyway. So they'll be paying twice for the same service that everybody pays once. So, but definitely that's why we need to get a better understanding from you know, where are we gonna go with it? If we do countywide collection, then we need to figure out, you know, that'll be countywide residential credit per se, but it may be worth the cost of having all these transfer stations all over the place. So in a way, you take the cost of these transfer stations and put it into the collection. And if it pan out to be zero, then it's a win-win. So, but that's why we need to analyze it.
Right, right. I have been requested, and I'm sure we all need a bio break. So at this point, we will take a 5-minute break and, or wait a minute, 5 minutes. My clock says 10:23. So if we can reconvene at 10:30. Everybody okay with that?
Aye.
Done. Thank you. That we are, I guess I should say what we're talking about. We were talking about the comment in the DEM presentation to the council about the value of giving out for free home composting bins, earth machines, that Kauai has estimated it returns $7 or costs $7 per diverted ton from the landfill. And that is way less expensive than having them go to the landfill. And people appreciate it. And there's educational value as people realize what they're generating and what goes where. So I guess the question is, do you have the capital to buy, I don't know, however many earth machines, so that we could get into it? Because it sure sounds like a no-brainer.
If I may,
John?
yeah, on that, we did, on several periods of time, give them away. The interesting thing is that they're far more successful over here on the wet side as opposed to on the dry side. So we had a lot more takers over the last time we did that than we did on the west side.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll comment on that, John. My experience living on the west side, I've got a active red worm composting system at my home. I've successfully maintained the same worms for 20 years plus now. So it can definitely be done in Kona.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm at 1,000 feet, so that probably makes a difference. We get a little more rain at the shoreline with salt intrusion. It's problematic, but they definitely work well on the side.
Well, it also sounds like something that might be amenable to getting a grant to purchase them. I'm sure you guys aren't busy at all trying to get grants, so one more thing, but I thought that was a really interesting item that the commissioners might want to hear about. And seems worthwhile to go chase down.
In addition to that, maybe Melissa, don't give up on your dream for compost.
Yeah,
So
right.
definitely.
I haven't given up on it. I feel like I'm just taking a little
I heard
break.
you loud, and I think I encourage you to continue working with Senna. Definitely,
thank you.
compost is being looked at from our department, and we're going to continue looking at what we're going to do, because Senna did her presentation. I thought it was a great presentation, and she addressed the hierarchy of even the most recent EBA studies, kind of how it outlines where things need to be. Because even EBA now, they're waking up and say, oh, well, maybe that's what we need to do, because priorities have shifted. So definitely, you know, we talking about decentralized communities, and even that program of house composting, it's a win-win, could be for some of the communities that, you know, they want to take advantage and start composting their own to enhance their soil or their backyard and what have you. So definitely, Melissa, keep that going. I know you were going to say something. Go ahead.
I have a comment and a question. So if it's the same earth bin, I got one of those about, it's probably about 10 or 11, maybe 12 years ago at the KL transfer station. And we used it for a very, very long time, basically until my dog found his way into it and was causing a big disaster. But it was really helpful and super easy. It just provides a space where you can put your compost, and you don't really even need to do anything, you know, depending on how proactive you want to be with compost. It's a great, you know, container and place for it. And then my question was, where can I access? Is there a recording of that presentation that you gave, Senna? Because I was working that day, so I didn't see it. But is there a place where?
I think I sent out, it's basically the council's website, and there's an archive of each of the committee meetings that you can go to. Now, whether it's been posted yet, I couldn't tell you. But eventually they go through and post all the recordings of council meetings and committee meetings. So I don't know, Peter, if you want to send that out to her, or I can find it as well.
Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, again, about the materials that DEM presented to the council? Okay, not seeing anything. Move on to item 8, future agenda items. As always, if anyone would like to see something on the agenda, let me or Peter know, and we'll get it there. What I've got from this meeting so far is that we should be getting proposed code changes that DEM's working out from Peter Sir, maybe, that we could discuss at the next meeting. You'll be inviting Steve Bader to join you at the next meeting so we can hear about the mayor's office work on state legislation. I'll be writing a request in the meantime to everybody to update their 2022 priorities. And if you know anything right now that you want to be sure and cover at our next meeting, let me know. Okay. Also, the budget would be the other thing that we would like to get from Peter, so that we could make comment if we need to, whether or not February is the timeliness, but certainly we can do it. Also, Rick Gaffney and I met with Tim Richards and blanking Haleka Inaba.
Lucky Naba.
The vice chair and vice chair of the Raween Regenerative Agriculture, Water, Energy, Environment, some combination of all those things. And we're talking with them about how we can better coordinate and make sure that we're helping to focus on priorities And so it was an initial discussion that we can do and we'll continue. I think we also want to get back to them sooner rather than later on checking in on just which priorities we want to do. But it was a way to open up some dialogue so that we could be efficient at communications and timely communications. So Rick and I will keep trying to accomplish that. So announcements. We will have our next meeting 9 a.m. on February 16th. And it will be another remote meeting. And John, we'll see what we can help you with so that you can get some nice stable connection. Maybe you and Peter can talk about options so we make sure that you can be there. We will still try to come up with a date for a special meeting to continue the hearing on the contested case. Any other announcements? John, is that
Can
you?
you pass along? Yeah, this is Amadeo. I'm trying to help him with his internet hookup. Can you please forward a copy of the rules regarding the Zoom conversations and specifically the rules saying that there has to be video of everybody the whole time? Because it's really, for rural communities like Lower Puna, that's a real problem, obviously.
It's HRS 92-3.7.
Let me write that down. Thank you.
HRS 92.
Can you repeat that as well?
Sure. HRS 92-3.7.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So I think I just want to comment on that because I think Kira had said earlier that the video, we don't have to have video the entire time. It's just in the beginning, I think, right? When to establish quorum, and then if someone can't, you know, if their internet connection's not stable, then they can just do the audio. So it's just the initial meeting that you need the video, right?
Right. Initially, so long as there's quorum, audio and visual, if a member is unable to keep that connectivity by video, then audio is okay.
Great. Thank you so much. That's what I was hoping.
So there's a message that showed up in the chat with a link. And that's a link to the rules. Is that correct, Peter?
That's a link to the state statute that I had cited, 92-3.7. Yeah.
So if you could see the chat, you can find that link.
Thank you.
Anything else from anybody?
I have a quick question, I guess. Should we, with the special meeting, I wonder, should we all look at our schedules and see if we can kind of move things around a little bit and email Peter maybe some more times that we could be available? Because I was just thinking about my schedule, and the days that I work, I can be available like in the morning. I just can't do later in the afternoon. So that might open up a little bit more time. So I wonder if that would be good if we all kind of look at our schedules again and see if we, you know, can have a little more flexibility, and then let Peter know. Would that be a good way to move forward with this?
I think so. Peter, I think you ought to just resend out the request and say, be as flexible as you possibly can so that we can find a time when we can get the most commissioners that we can. I think maybe tentatively what we try to target 7 people to be able to show up. We had 5 at the original January 7 hearing, and a couple more I think would be good because we did have a split vote, and so I think that would help. If you can do that, Peter, appreciate it very much.
I have a question.
Sure, Rick?
Yeah, I have a question for Peter. Peter, can you use a doodle poll or is that not appropriate?
Yeah, I've seen it used in the past. I can sign up for it.
Yeah, it just seems to me that we have a lot of different people and a lot of different schedules, and it's a really good way, particularly if we know, we've got 2 attorneys that have to be there, or 3 attorneys that have to be there potentially. And their schedules are likely to be tied pretty solidly to court schedules or whatever, or county business schedules. So once those are established, then if the rest of us can fit in around them in a doodle poll, it may be more efficient. And I realize I wasn't able to call you back, and we talked about it this morning, but I can usually respond to a doodle poll because I just pull up my calendar and then, look, answer yes, no. It's fast and
Yeah, I use Doodle. It's a nice tool, and you get to see everybody else, so well, geez, 4 other people can make that time. I guess I could make it.
Sure. What do you think it should take? 90 minutes
Peer
or so?
pressure.
How much time should we ask to reserve? 90 minutes, I'm guessing? Shouldn't be more than that, hopefully.
I think to be conservative, I would say 2.5 to 3 hours.
2 to 3. Okay.
And I have one more question. I need to look and review all of that information. Where do I do that? Because I know Peter had sent out a bunch of stuff, but I'd have to kind of wade through my emails again to try and find it. Is there a link?
Yeah,
I can send it out to everyone again.
Information.
Yeah, Peter.
Okay.
Peter will send that. Yeah. Thank you, Peter.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Peter.
Anything else? All right, last but not least, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I'll say aye.
Hey.
All right, thank you very much. Glad we could make this work.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Aye.
Aloha.